Lomax is a body image coach, personal trainer, holistic nutritionist, NLP practitioner, and a speaker. But more important than all of those things is that she is committed to helping women who have yo-yoed with their weight, who have tried every fad diet, and are still not happy with their reflection in the mirror. Her personal story is incredible, and as a result, she has a huge passion for helping women heal their relationship with food and their bodies. In addition to that, she wants to help eliminate that negative head trash so that they can feel beautiful and confident every day. Buckle in, ladies, and get ready to hear a wonderful transformational story and have some insights of your own. Liza, so grateful to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah,
Thank you for that wonderful introduction too. I was like, ooh, I'm getting goosebumps.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
Like, I'm good. Nice.
Well, I believe that you are. And man, I know that there are women out there who need to hear your story and will be encouraged and inspired by it. Liza, this mission is huge for women. Tell us a little bit about where you're at today on that mission.
Oh gosh, where I'm at today is like light years from where I was, and I'm sure I'll share that story with you a little bit later. Where I'm at now is I'm healthy. I'm the fittest I've ever been, the healthiest I've ever been, mind, body, soul, spirit. I love life. I am an avid traveler. I love to work out. Gosh, there's so many things that I love to do, and I love to experience life, and I have a wonderful life. I get to travel a lot. I get to meet fantastic people. I get to help amazing women. I get to help women find their worth, find who they are, find their authenticity, find their confidence back, because we lose that at such a young age. We lose that confidence and that valuing ourselves. And I'm always helping women, acknowledging women, making sure that they feel valued, appreciated, and acknowledged any chance I can get. Because that's all we really want, is we always want to be acknowledged. We always want to be valued. We always want to be appreciated for the things that we do. And we're not given that a lot in life. And we start out really young at not getting that in life. And then it continues to haunt us over and over and over again. So just really just loving life and living it to the fullest, because you never know, this is the only body you're going to get. This is the only time you're going to be in this body. So give it the love and respect and desire to be inside of it, to really love who you are and love your body. And, I wake up every morning and I'm so grateful and so blessed where I'm at. So I can't say enough of like how grateful I really feel.
Well, that's awesome.
From where I was to where I'm at now is phenomenally transformed.
Well, and I look forward to all of the listeners hearing that story, and we're gonna dive right into that. I love that that's where you are today, and that you're in this space where you're teaching others to embody what you just described. When you think about that mission of helping as many women as you can to get to the space where you are today, how do you measure how you're doing on the mission?
How do I measure? By hearing their stories, by hearing how I'm helping them, how I'm transforming them. Every time I tell a client story, I get goosebumps, because it's like part of that story is my story and I can relate to that. And I know, the struggles, and I know the pitfalls, and I know what they've gone through, those roadblocks and things like that. So it's like anytime I hear like somebody else saying how I helped them transform. It's like, I gave you the tools. All I am is a facilitator of the tools and giving you the tools, because I've been there. I talk the talk. I've walked the walk. I've been there, done that. So I just give you those tools. So having that, that good, that told back to me that, hey, this is very transformational, You really changed my life. You changed everything. I'm like, well, you changed your life. You did it yourself. I just gave you those tools, but it still is very like, it just warms my heart. It just makes me so happy when I hear those things.
Fills you up. I love
Fills my
it.
cup.
Love it. In terms of, I mean, let's dive into some of those tools, right? Because I know you've got them. And if I think about the story that you have to share, I am sure you've had to have some foundational things that you just repeatedly go back to keep you going in that direction. Do you have a favorite quote or affirmation that you tell yourself?
You know, people have asked me that before about quotes. And, I like to come up with my own quotes. It's like those quotes were, yeah, I appreciate them. They're wonderful quotes, but they're not my quotes.
Right.
They're not something that I created. And it's like, if I'm going to live this life and live the best life that I want to live, I'm going to create a quote for me that that does resonate with me because it's from me and it's about me. So I use I am are the two most powerful words in the English language because anything you put on the other side of that has a huge negative or positive effect on it. So if you're saying I am ugly, fat, disgusting, stupid, you're going to feel those things. You're going to feel kind of sluggish. You're going to kind of just hunked over. You're going to just not really live your life, not really feel happy, not you'll feel sad, whereas if you say I am beautiful, brilliant, amazing, you put your shoulders back, your eyes light up, you're lighter and a little bit brighter. So I say I am a lot. I use a lot of I ams. I am brilliant, I am amazing, I am strong, I am resilient, I am perseverant. I mean, I just, all these things, I was actually saying those to myself. I was running. I'm an avid runner, and I do like long days and short days, and yesterday was my long day, so I was running about 10 miles, and I'm like right at the end of the stretch, and I'm like, my mind starting to go like, I just want to stop, I want to stop,
I
and I'm
know
like,
that
nope,
feeling.
you can
Yeah.
do this, I am strong, I am confident, I can do this. Just keep on motivating myself, and I say it out loud to myself. It doesn't matter if there's anybody around me, it's like I say them out loud to myself, because anything that we say to ourselves, our conscious says to ourselves, our subconscious believes it to be true. And so I'm constantly saying, I am, and some positive, word after
Affirmation.
that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love it. I am statements are tremendously powerful. And I love that, I mean, that just goes into that head trash, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
from a neuroscience perspective, they state that we need to have at least, and depends on what studies you're looking at, et cetera, but it's like a 5-to-1 ratio, 5 positives to 1 negative. And we
Mm-hmm.
are our own worst critics. Those
Yep.
stories that we allow to play in our heads, we need to shut those down. So I love that. Positive I am statements. How about non negotiable practices in your daily, weekly, monthly routine for you?
Non-negotiable practices. So non-negotiable. Ooh. Well, I always wake up and do my meditation.
Mm,
That's non-negotiable. It's like I will always do that every day, every night. I do my meditation. I wake up, I do my mirror work. If I'm going to have my clients do it, I'm going to continue to still do it. So doing my mirror work. So going to the mirror and just looking at yourself and saying, little nuggets of positivity to yourself, whatever that may be.
sure.
I do write affirmations out every day, and I always get some sort of exercise, exercise exercise is not to lose weight, not to burn calories because, hey, I had a root beer float the night before and
Right.
oh gosh, I got to go and burn that off. No, it's like, I
No.
don't look at that as, I look at that as, for me, exercise is mental health.
Mm,
And it really gets me out of my head, and it gets me in somewhere else in another space. And it's almost like a form of another meditation for me especially when I'm running.
yeah.
I just get out of my head and I just focus on the road ahead, and I just keep going and keep going and keep going.
Well, and physiologically, that does an incredible work
It
on your,
does, yes.
right, on
Yes.
yourself.
Well,
So
that too, yes. I mean, it doesn't have that perk, so.
it does. It's got all of that good juju going on,
Right,
right? Like, hey, I
right.
got good
So those
stuff.
are, yeah, those are all non-negotiable. I mean, I will always do those things.
Love it. Love it. From a mindset perspective, I know you've got a lot to say around mindset. Do you have a particular thing that you would call your mindset message that you like to share with others?
Um, oh goodness. I think just, I mean, I don't think that there's like anything in particular. I think just random things kind of just spew out. If that makes sense. I know that's funny. I know it's funny to say that, but I just like random things like, you know, um, you know, taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's self-preservation.
Right.
So telling women, especially women who have children or spouses or other people around them, they think that taking care of themselves is selfish. And
Mm,
it's like, no, if you cannot possibly take care of anybody else around you until you take care of yourself. Because if you're down for the count and you're sick and you're tired or you have a headache or you're, any kind of sickness, you can't help anybody else around you.
period.
So really taking care of yourself. So self-care is self-preservation. You have to take care of yourself first, and it just showing them that it has to be a priority.
Yeah. Well, I
Everything
think
has to be a priority.
what we prioritize gets done, right? And what we don't doesn't. And
Exactly.
it's really that simple in the big
Mhm.
I know, hey, we're done. This interview is over, right? Like it's that
Right.
simple. Just
Right.
just do the things that are important. I wish it
Mhm.
were really just that simple, but from a mindset perspective, turning that and flipping
Mhm.
it and believing, internalizing that, hey, I really do have to make myself a priority and it's not selfish to do that because what it does is allows me to care for those others around me. That's a huge mindset shift.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know that when it comes to your why, there was a journey to get there. Tell us a little bit about, I mean, what you said. You're here today in this space where you're full of gratitude. You're in your best health ever, but that hasn't always been the case. So,
Mm-mm.
talk to us about that journey to discovering your why.
So I came from a household that was very mentally, physically, emotionally abusive. My mother suffers from mental illness, and I was a pseudo parent in the relationship. I was the oldest of four. I took care of my siblings growing up, and took care of a lot of things. And I never learned how to love myself, and that was the big thing. And from a very young age, I learned that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't special enough. I wasn't beautiful enough. I wasn't this. I wasn't that. And we learn that at a very young age. When we're told to be seen and not heard, don't cry. I'll give you something to cry about. Push your emotions down. You can't be emotional. When girls are told they have to wear pink and boys are told they have to wear blue, and girls have to do things this way and wear dresses and boys have to do things this way, and be a man and suck it up and don't show emotions. So it's like we're told all these things. So growing up, just I was a giver, I was a caregiver, I was a doormat, I was a people pleaser. I let people walk all over me. I based my worth on what other people thought of me. So if they treated me like crap, I thought I was crap. And I thought that about myself. And so as a teenager, I suffer from two EDs. I had anorexia and I had overeating, binge eating. And I literally went from one end of the spectrum to the other and everything else in between. I was super, super skinny. And then I went from there to being 26 and 300 pounds. And at that point in my life, I had been in just a multitude of abusive relationships and had just one after another. And I did end up getting married, and I ended up having, at the time when I was 26, I had a 2-year-old. And so at the time I'm 26, I had a lot of underlying health issues, and the doctor's telling me that I'm going to die if I didn't lose weight.
That's a wake up call.
It's a wake up call. And, I had borderline diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, a lot of other underlying health issues, depressed, severely depressed, had a lot of anxieties, a lot of OCDs. And I was like, well, I want to live to see my son grow older, so I'll lose the
No
weight for
doubt.
him. And so again, I chose other people, not myself. I lost weight. I lost actually 105 pounds in 13 months.
Wow. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
I lost a whole person.
Yeah.
And I go back and look at pictures of myself and I was like, wow. Oh, wow. I'm like, it's very interesting to
That's
see
a
pictures of
huge
myself.
transformation. I mean,
It was a huge
105
transformation.
pounds
Mm-hmm.
is dramatic, but you said it was for your son.
It's for my son. And so after that, I went back to the same thing, the same eating habits, the same structures, same everything, abusive relationships. By that time, I had divorced my son's father, and I had moved on, and I yo-yoed continuously, and about 5 years went down the line, and I was a heavy drinker. I was addicted to diet pills. I did things to myself nobody should ever do themselves. I would eat and eat and eat and take laxatives, and I would eat and eat and eat, take laxatives. I did so many things to my body. I was in so many abusive relationships. I put myself in so many situations where I shouldn't have been. I shouldn't be here anymore.
Well, thank God you
And
are.
literally hit rock bottom. Yeah, here I'm at. I'm here. I hit rock bottom, like big time, and I really had to take a step back. And whether you believe in God, higher source, higher power, I really believe that God was just telling me that I needed to change and something had to give. And if
Right.
I didn't, here's my second chance. If I didn't do something, I wasn't going to be here anymore. And so at that point in my life, I was like, okay, I don't really have a sustainable life around me. I don't know how to love myself. I don't know how to take care of myself. I found all these different avenues and different ways, and had all this toxicity in my life. Um, is the game of life learning to love myself?
Possibly.
Possibly. I think that's the right answer. Bing, 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 bing. That's the right answer. It's like, you in a car,
Right. Or a life, right?
Right.
Or
You in a life. And so, yeah, I was like, wow, okay. So how do I learn how to love myself? I don't know the first thing about this. I've never been taught this. I've never really, expressed it. I've never had it around me. And so I at it myself, and I went out and I studied every self-help book, every guru, everybody out there, anything I could get my hands on that could possibly show me how I can do this, how I can live my life.
And this started from you being, I mean, just to be clear, like you were at rock bottom as you described it. And was there like a day where you were like, okay, I'm going to the bookstore and I'm buying these books? Or was there a person or you think about being at rock bottom. It's like, was there some moment that was like, okay, there's a switch that's flipped? Or was there a person who influenced that? Or
I always had like these, and I put them on the outside exterior of me, because the people that are on the inside were always toxic, were always toxic people. And I always had these few people outside of that circle that were always there. And, I finally was like, okay, I think I need to turn to those people. And I think I need to go out. And so it was literally both. I think I need to go out and just find things, find tools. What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? And using a little bit of their direction as well. And, because they were always there for me, and they were always in there. They were always there, not in my inner circle, but they were always there. And so really turning to them, and turning to, going out in the Barnes and Noble and going to the self-help section. I mean, we all know the self-help section, and I'm like, okay, I'll pick that one and this one. I mean,
well, you've got to start somewhere, right?
Yes, you do.
And sometimes it is, well, I would probably say that most of the time it's a decisioning process. Yes. It's like, I'm done and I'm no longer going to insert whatever. I'm no
Yeah.
longer going to allow this in my life, or I'm no longer going to live this way anymore, or I'm no longer going to do this thing. And then you've got to find the supports to help you with that along the way, which it sounds like you did both with people and information, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
So, in terms of roadblocks or obstacles that you, from that day, that you've had to overcome, talk to us a little bit about what you've encountered.
Oh, I mean, there's, there's still things that come up to this day. I mean, we're only human. We're spiritual beings having this human experience. We're in these bodies. We're gonna have regular roadblocks, regular pitfalls, regular
All
stumbles,
of us.
you
Yeah.
know. And one thing for me was the mirror was a huge thing for me. And I actually do a talk called Making the Mirror Your Friend,
Mm,
and which people are like, oh, I need to hear that. It's a really good talk. And for one, the mirror was a huge thing for me because I suffer from body dysmorphia. So I would look in the mirror and literally see a monster. And when I started going through my transformation, that was an aha moment for me too. That when I was going through my transformation and learning about myself and learning to love myself and gathering all these tools, going out and getting certifications and all these different things, having all these tools, and actually looking at myself in the mirror for the first time. And I say the first time because it was like the first time. I literally had somebody standing next to me, and I'm like, who is that person in the mirror? And they're like, that's you. And I'm like, no, that's not me. That's me. No, that's
mm,
not me. And like looking at me, and I'm like, wow, I look fantastic. I look amazing. I'm beautiful. And
back
to
to
be
that
able to,
I am.
I am, yes, back to the I am. And from that point on, I'm like, every time I look at myself in the mirror, I give myself a pat on the back. I'm like, wow, I really have come a long way. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I've come a long way.
Yeah. So, in terms of over time, and I get what you're saying that hey, every one of us is going to encounter roadblocks, and I was they come daily, right? I mean, just
Yes.
the voices in your head come daily, the outside people, naysayers, whatever the case might be.
Hmm.
But we've got to have that mode of combating those things. Do you, aside from your I am statements, do you have some way that you combat those things when obstacles do happen, or that you prepare for them?
I give myself a timeout. And I do that. I tell my clients that too. I give myself a timeout, and they're like, a timeout. I'm like, well, you give your kid a timeout. You ground your child, so ground yourself.
Right.
Why not? Why can't you go somewhere and just sit in either quietness, or I go for a run, or I just to get out of my head and get out of that space. And having a designated area that you can just go to, and that is your space, that is your area that you can just go to and just give yourself a timeout. If you're around people and there's a lot of stuff going on, and the energy is just way too intense, and you just don't want to deal with it, it's okay to say, excuse me, and go and have a timeout. Like, I can't deal with this right now. Give me a couple minutes and I'll be right back. Go clear your head, get out of your head, release whatever needs to be released, whether it's emotions or whatever you're feeling. Really look at it, analyze it. Why am I feeling this way? Okay, this is why I'm feeling this way. I'm going to let it go, release it, and then you can get back to where you're going to. But having that space, giving yourself a timeout, is the
You know
best
what?
thing.
I'm a big fan of timeouts, and I tell my kids that too. I'm like, nope, need a mom
Moment,
timeout.
please.
Just need a
Right.
mom timeout. And
Mhm.
they're like, isn't that punishment? Nope, not punishment. It's healthy. I
Yep.
just need to have a few minutes. I'll be back with you. I think that that's a really great learned behavior because it
Hmm.
prevents us from getting too far into the weeds in any
Yes.
number of situations, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever the case might be. So that's really, really awesome. In terms of the biggest lesson that you've learned over time in living out this why, what would you say the biggest lesson would be?
We are the most important person in this world. We are, you are, me, yeah, everybody, you know, us being in these bodies, we are the most important person, first of all. Everything is inside us. You know, God is inside us. Love is inside us. We are inside of us. Everything is here. All our lessons, all our journeys, all our, if we want an answer to a question, it's all right here. So we are the most important people in this world. Once we can realize that and really accept that, then we can be the vessels that we need to be, the tools that we need to be for the people outside of us. You know, our missions in this world. That's what we need to do. We need to focus on ourselves first and then focus on the outside world.
Love it. Back to the taking care of yourself so
Yes.
that you can then give back, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you knew somebody out there, which I'm certain there are plenty of women out there who are listening to this who look at themselves in the mirror and they don't have that instant response to say, I am beautiful, I'm strong, I'm courageous. Oh, look at that awesome butt, whatever the case might be, right? If they're listening and they're unsure or struggling with what they're called to, what would you have to say to them today?
So I usually do, one of the tools that I do in my talk, Making the Mirror Your Friend, is the I Love You challenge. And so I love you are another 3 powerful words that we say all the time to every single person around us, but we have a hard time saying it to ourselves. Why is it so hard to say to ourselves? We say it to everybody else around us. So the I love you challenge is going to the mirror every morning when you wake up and say I love you. It's so simple.
I was going to say, that sounds pretty simple.
Very simple. You say I love you. And what I like to know is pay attention to what you're, you know, how it's resonating, what's going on, and really just hone in on that. Like, where's it sitting in your body? Where are you experiencing? Are you feeling any emotions? Are you getting emotional? Are you getting angry? Or do you have tears? Any emotions that you're feeling with this, express them, let them come out, let them, you know, really look at them, because they've been probably deep down in there for a really long time, and you need to let them go. You need to let them release, let them, you know, let them out. So give yourself 2 weeks and do that. And usually I check back, but, you know, I'm not sure which listener is listening at this time,
Right.
so I can't really check in with them. But
No,
if they want to find me,
social media, right? They can check in on social media and let us know how it works.
Right. You know, just I love you is so simple. It's so simple.
Liza, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you just feel like, hey, I need to make sure that the women out there listening hear this?
Gosh, I think everything that I said, I think everybody needs to hear that. So really, no, just, you know, make yourself a priority. You know, it's like there's like this meme out, not really a meme, but it's kind of a meme, and it has a battery on it, and it has the, you know, how the batteries look when they get really, really low on our phone, they have like the battery. And we have a person standing next to them, and that the red is like at the feet. It's like, make yourself a priority. We wouldn't let our cell phones die, would we? No, we're like addicted to these. We like have to have them by us. They're always with us. We always are on them.
Right here in my hands. Yep.
Yes, and we always make sure they're charged. So make sure you're charged. Make sure your battery is full. Make sure that you are, you know, good, ready to go. You have all the power you need. You have all the energy you need, you know, to take on the world, to take on the day, to take care of yourself.
That's awesome. Love it. Make sure you're powered up.
Powered up.
How can we help you with your current mission?
Oh, how can you help me? Just, you know, anybody who's listening out there that is struggling, that really, you know, is tired of the yo-yo, is tired of going around and around and around, and has tried everything but me yet, you know, just know that they there's something that they're missing. There's something that needs to be changed, or something that needs to give. They're continuing that yo-yo. They're continuing that cycle. They feel that they're not worthy. They're not special enough. They're not good enough. You're nitpicking every single little thing you see when you're looking in the mirror. All those little things, can change with just some mindsets and some mindset shifts, reframing and retraining all those beliefs and those behaviors. So anybody listening out there just is really, if they're struggling, come find me.
Well, I love that it's a mission and a cry of your heart, and that it comes from a personal place of having been there. That to me really speaks to the authenticity of your drive for helping others to accomplish the same thing. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. This is a pleasure. I was so grateful. Yes.